Yeah, a little bit. That's interesting that you never even tried another sport. Like usually is if you don't do another sport, it's by choice because, especially like basketball and football guys, it's just like, oh, we're doing this and that's it. Like early specialization, I don't care about any other sport and that's it. That's by choice. But for you to kind of just like, I'm here, so and you just stuck with it, it's just like that's interesting. Like, did you never want to? It just like swimming, just it just called to you and just let you answer the call, like, oh, I'm here. All right, cool.
Yeah, it was more of an answering the call, though I didn't know I was called to do it, right?
Mm,
I just loved it so much. I, I I didn't feel the need or drive or desire to try anything else. I never felt that I was missing out by not
mhm.
doing another sport. And again, I'm kind of rare in that respect. Like most people, especially in these days, like go, like try
Oh yeah.
everything, like no specialization whatsoever. And I'm kind of like, well, I mean, it can work for some people if that's what they want to do and that's where they feel most drawn to just do one sport. I mean, my parents never pressured me to stay. They never pressured me to try something else. They knew that I felt right where I was supposed to be, and there were never any discussions to try anything else.
Mm. That is very unique. And I think today it's a little bit different because
Mhm.
a lot of parents will pressure their kids to be like, hey, you're gonna do this sport and you're gonna show up to practice and you're gonna do X, Y, and Z. You're gonna have this level of structure around you to make sure you're succeeding. And how did you feel? Did you like see other kids going through that when you were growing up and doing your thing, or was it just like later on in your career?
Well, I will say this. My parents were the type of people, and I appreciate this life lesson that if we started a season and we got midway through and said, hey, I'm done with this, it was, you're going to finish out the season. You made a
Mm-hmm.
commitment to yourself, you made a commitment to a team, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a great question. I don't know that I was conscious enough to know. I don't know that I was paying attention enough to know what other
Mm-hmm.
kids were going through or what I was noticing. I will say on the team that I was on specifically, and actually to this day, I still talk to people on that team. I started swimming for that team when I was 6 and was finished when I was 18. I have a ton
Mm-hmm.
of great friends and we're still connected. And to this day, we even comment on just how special that team really was because it was this collective. We all want to be here. We all know we're a part of something special. We all know we're getting something out of this, even though we probably didn't know that at the time outside of just becoming a better swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know that I was aware of it, but I see it now as a parent of athletes
Mm-hmm.
and just the shift in mindset or attention to how sports are played or to what level people specialize and at what point and to what degree and intensity.
Mm. So, do you feel like that was a? I know you kind of said that you're not against early specialization, and just because that worked out for you,
Yeah.
but with other sports, because football is very, very physical. Basketball
Mhm.
is physical, definitely not as close to football, but it has a level of physicality. So, would you
Yes.
still recommend that for the sports on that side?
Well, that's a great question. I recommend listening to the athlete. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that athletes, when truly dialed in and given the space to figure out what's best for them, know truly what's best for them. My nephew, who plays for a D1 program, started playing football when he was in kindergarten, so 6 years old. Now he dabbled in other sports. He is a world champion karate um, karate person, winner. He played a bit of basketball in high school. He played a bit of rugby, but his sport of choice and the sport that he has done probably the longest, if I'm remembering, is football.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was more driven by him than his parents. His parents supported it, my sister and my brother-in-law. But again, you make a phenomenal point. You know, a physical sport like football is much different than swimming, right? There's obviously no contact, and you're swimming in water. So, a completely different environment.
Mm-hmm.
However, in this day and age, I think there is enough awareness in terms of how to optimize and protect yourself as much as possible within that game. And I think it really always boils down to the individual athlete, and from a physical standpoint, but also a mental and emotional standpoint, like how well they're bringing all three of those elements together to support themselves through their own journey, along with their coaches and their parents.
Okay.
Yeah, my
So
body
for
certainly was not banged up as much as a football player. That I absolutely will say. So it was a lot easier to stay focused in swimming. So yeah, totally different
oh
sports.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So for the parent, oh, so for the child who is in that situation where they're going through the steps of early specialization and they're going through the sport, and it's not the natural flow of what I want to do, and my parents are kind of forcing me to do this and they're forcing me to do all these things. What should they do? Like, how should they handle a situation where mom and dad is forcing them to play basketball and they're forcing them to do football, whatever? How should they handle the situation?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'm going to actually give you a very HR answer because that's what I was growing up in. Is it really kind of depends on the individual, right? So the way that we approach the business is that we empower elite student athletes to create and execute the success formulas that work for them, right? Find the way that makes sense for them to play their game. And so in that kind of situation, would hope that the athlete has a relationship that is open enough to express those feelings, those thoughts, those emotions, those reactions, those whatever they're going through to their parents,
Mm-hmm.
and to have the relationship that's deep enough for the parents to open up and to be receptive of that. I will say, as a parent and as a former athlete, it can be extremely challenging to turn off how you would have approached that situation had you been in their shoes as an athlete. Well, I would have done this as you. Why can't you do this? Or whatever the case may be. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned as a parent of athletes, but also as a former athlete,
Mm-hmm.
it is not my game to play. It is not my journey to navigate. And while I want X, Y, and Z for them because I'm so attached to their outcomes, because they are my children, because I am so emotionally invested, it's my responsibility to find that safe barrier that I can absolutely listen to them, listen to their input, and kind of turn off well, this is what I would do. Well, let me find a solution for you. So going back to the original question, honestly, it's not necessarily just what the athlete, quote unquote, should do. There's also the component of where the parent comes into that equation as well, and how to navigate that conversation as a team versus opponents against one another or competitors against one another. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's totally natural, and certainly no judgment for anybody who goes through it, because fully transparency there. I've had those moments with my own child. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, not my journey. I've got to find a way to create that separation. But from a quote unquote should do, though I never say what anybody should do,
Mm-hmm.
to open up the lanes of communication as an athlete, even if it may be really uncomfortable.
So it's not that you're mentally weak. It's just that you don't really understand where your mental toughness is. You don't understand where exactly you're mentally strong at. It's even crazy. You probably don't even really understand what mental toughness actually is. And I don't blame you, because usually we just have coaches yelling at us and fussing at us saying, hey, 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 be mentally tough. You're being weak right now. You're being soft right now. But it's not the full scope, and it doesn't give you any true understanding of what mental toughness is and how you can get better at it. And so I'm here to help you guys out. Because just imagine I gave you a pill right here in my hand. Just imagine. And within that pill, it gave you just a epiphany where you just brain just blew up and you're just like, oh my goodness, you got so much better understanding. Now your game just grows by 10x and you just a whole different person now. Bro, I got the pill for you right here. Never fear bees, Mental Toughness Playbook ebook is here. You feel me? So in this whole little playbook I got for you, just small little ebook, it breaks down the mental game of understanding what mental toughness is and different areas of what your mental toughness is and how you can actually grow it and get better and enhance it. So, look in the link, look in the description, and to go ahead and purchase it and do yourself a favor by just understanding what mental toughness actually is and also understanding how you can actually grow it and what you need to get better at it. So just the mental toughness playbook, small little ebook. I'm just trying to tell you, hey, can't say I didn't warn you.